Hi, my name's Eaton Dunkelberger, and this is my daughter,
Hi.
Alice, and together we're going to show you the gear we use for great first days of skiing. The first thing that I want to show you is what our kids go to sleep in, which is also their long underwear. So hold on, we'll get into those and we'll join you in a second. So as you can see, Alice is wearing her long johns, and typically we wear these to bed to make it super easy to get up in the morning. This is really thin, it's a top and a bottom, and they go together great, and we'll show you what we layer on from there. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is look at socks. So I've got the socks all the way pulled up. You'll notice these socks are pretty thin. They're not super thick wool socks, and there's only one pair. Ski boots are really warm, so particularly in the Sierra. So you don't have to really worry about having super thick socks. Just get regular, these are wool socks, like a wool synthetic blend, but really they're not that thick. They are probably as thick as like a little somewhat thick pair of athletic socks or soccer socks. Now go ahead and pull both of our thin long underwear right over it. We're all set. So next thing we're going to do is get on a pair of snow pants or bibs for Alice. What do you say?
Yes!
Okay, here we have Alice in her bibs. And so a couple things. I really like bibs for young kids because it's really hard to get snow in their pants. They stay up because they've got these straps on them. And if you just turn around, they go up onto the back. And typically we're going to maybe put one layer on, another layer under these straps, and then one more to get her to the mountain. And then at the end, we'll start stripping off layers before she starts skiing so she doesn't overheat. So let's get started. Okay, here I've got some examples of layers we're going to use. You can see both of these are kind of like a thin fleece. This one is just like a crew neck sweater. This one happens to have a little zip neck. And what I do normally is I'll take one or two of these, depending on how cold it is, and put them on. We're going to start with typically one when we leave the house because the car is nice and warm, and then when we walk from the car to our lessons, maybe we'll put on our second one, but we're definitely going to remove the second one, if not also the first one before our lessons start. So Alice will get dressed in her first layer.
Okay, you should always hold on to the edge of your long johns like this so they don't get all ruffled right at your elbow.
Great. And we'll try that on with Alice's jacket here. So this is for a jacket. A couple things I want you to notice. It does have a hood. I'd say that's pretty optional for kids because it is hard to fit a hood over top of a ski helmet. Oftentimes we'll just take the hood off, not bring it with us. This ski jacket, one thing you'll notice is it's not particularly puffy or squishy. Alice has enough layers, and we're going to bring one extra, that she's going to be A-okay even without a really warm jacket. What a really warm jacket prevents you from doing is having the ability of flexibility to use layers to keep yourself warm and cold. I will tell you, anytime you do physical exertion, you heat up a lot. If you've got a really thick jacket, you really only have one choice, which is unzip or zip. If you've got a layered system and a thinner waterproof jacket, then you've got yourself a system that can adapt to all the different weather conditions you're going to find on the ski mountain. So let's go ahead and load it up. Alice, you're going to grab onto your sleeves?
Yes.
Great.
So they don't get all ruffled.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, one of the great things for kids is a face covering. I know they've probably had their fill of face coverings with coronavirus, but these can be really helpful to keeping wind and sun off your face, really protect the kiddos. So this has elastic at the top and bottom. It's fairly thin. It's made out of like a fleece material. We're going to go ahead and throw that on.
Dad, and the audience, don't actually throw it on. That won't work.
All right, let's go ahead and get that ready. Okay, let's talk about ski helmets. So this is a typical ski helmet made by Giro. One thing you'll notice right away is it's fully adjustable. The other thing you'll notice is it's got this nice warm liner inside. And the third thing you'll notice is that it has my daughter's name on it. So these are all things that tie into recommendations for the name. I can't tell you how important it is to put your name right on the front of your helmet. Worst case, just throw a piece of duct tape on there and write it. It really makes a bond between your instructor and your child if they know their name. The second thing tied to this liner is that helmets are quite warm. So I only recommend a face covering. You just notice Alice has no head covering. So we'll put it on. There we go. The strap goes around the face covering, holds it nicely in place, and then, if I need to, I can tighten it. Alice, go ahead and shake your head up and down. Perfect. So this isn't moving at all. What you want to make sure the helmet does not do is like fall over the eyes or get up over the forehead when your head is violently shook. Looks like this one fits great. How are you feeling?
Good.
Yeah? Great. Okay, here we've got a typical pair of kids' ski goggles. So ski goggles are smaller than adult goggles, so it probably ends right at the just tips of my eyes, so I'd need a little bit bigger pair. So get a pair of ski kids' goggles. To put them on, you want to go ahead and sit down? Now go ahead and put them on her eyes and just bring the straps over. And one of the things you'll notice here, stand up straight, is in the back there's a little clip that helps hold this strap so the whole system becomes one. Alice, why don't you go ahead and look at the camera? Wow, ready to shred. So here we've got our gloves or mittens. So really important parts about gloves and mittens. One, waterproof. No cotton or cloth gloves. That's really not a good strategy with something wet like snow. I happen to prefer mittens for my kids. Younger kids will like chew on them. They get really gross, so plan on sewing them up a couple times through the season. Let's go ahead and throw these on, Alice. Put them on nice and tight. There we go. Show them off, Al. Okay, also just a note is that we don't have any liners underneath. We really rarely, if ever, use those because kids end up being really warm with this. So when kids get too hot, they start to remove their goggles. You'll see goggles up. They'll start to take off their gloves. They're way too hot. Good, great job, Alice. Yeah, so when kids get too hot, they start taking off this gear. But what's the problem with this? This gear is safety gear. Cold hands turn into like frostbite or kids crying. No goggles on turns into snow blindness. No gaiter on turns into sunburn and wind chap. None of those things that we want. So if kids are taking off their safety gear, what do? Most important thing, let's get them nice and cool. That's one of the reasons why we use the layering system. First thing I would do is open the jacket up and unzip a little bit. The second thing I would do is start removing layers right away. So we got lots of options. If you're wearing layers, just start taking those off. Let's leave the safety gear on our kids the whole time whenever possible. All right, you're on it, huh? Great.
Dad, I'm actually sweating in this stuff.
Okay, the ever important ski boot. let's go ahead and show how to put these on, and we'll make sure they fit, and then we'll get them all set up. So first most important thing, let's get all these buckles way open. Pull out the tongue so we can get the foot in. This foot, Alice. Okay.
Yeah, I rolled out my long
That's
tongue.
okay. Here, let's get your foot in.
It's so unlike you.
Alright, nice toe in and push. Okay, perfect. Before we zip these up, what I'm going to make sure we have is no bunching. I don't know how well you can see this, but Alice's socks have gotten a little bunch. So we really just want one layer in there if we can. Maybe a second layer of long johns, but mostly we just want a layer of sock in there. So I'll even pull these up. Now I'm going to take these buckles, clip them in. Oh, excuse me, Al.
I need to put in my layer of long john.
Okay.
Just to keep me.
All right, so Alice looks like she's a 3 and a 3. What I try to aim for is an amount of tightness where, you hear that pop? That's kind of the amount of tightness. Maybe this top one could go a little tighter.
That's what it always goes like that.
Okay, once you got it set up, 3 on the bottom, 4 on top, I'm ready. And I take this gusset, which is inside most snow pants. It's elastic. And I go ahead and bring it over the boot buckle. And what that does is it creates a really great barrier for moisture to come in, cold air to come in. And Alice is ready to ski. Yeah. So typically I'll get my kiddos in their ski boots and long johns and bibs at home, and we'll just drive like this to the ski resort, throw on the rest of our layers once we get there and get ready to head to the mountain. So what's next is our skis. So here we got a pair of kids' skis. Typically what I like to do is take a piece of duct tape, put it right on the front here, write their name, in this case Alice, in big letters right here. You would not believe how many kids have the same skis and how many kids accidentally take each other's skis home every day. So keep in mind, names on skis and helmets wherever possible, and if your child is old enough for poles, the second thing I'd do is I would just take a piece of tape out and pretend this is a ski pole. Just put it just like this. So you got a little label here hanging on the ski pole, and I just write their name right here, just to make sure, because poles also tend to walk off.
Dad, poles
Okay,
can't
Pete.
walk.
Lost. The next thing I'll show you is how a child carries their skis. So hop down, Alice. All right, get your hands out like you're ready to carry your skis, just like carrying wood. Great, good job. Go ahead and carry them over there.
I
Perfect,
took the
Pete.
tennis ball, Dad.
Okay, so I want to thank you for coming to this video. I'll just do some quick recaps from starting at the bottom all the way to the top. So first things first, we only have like 1 or 2 layers of stuff on our feet inside our boot, right? So maybe that's like one kind of thin sock or thinnish sock, and maybe our long johns. To get our boots on, we put those bib gussets over our buckles. In terms of what's on our legs, we've got a thinnish pair of long johns and then just our bibs. We don't need 2 layers on our bottom, particularly for our skiing in the Sierra. As we get up to our top, remember we have a long john layer and then up to 2 thin fleece layers, but really nothing thick on top. You want to layer your systems on top, and then our jacket is of course waterproof, but not super thick and puffy. It's thin so that we can use layers to adjust our temperature. And then as we get up here, we've got our mask on our neck that we keep up. We've got our goggles on, our helmet with our name on it right on the front, and then we've got our gloves, which are waterproof, ideally mittens. And if kids are taking off their goggles, their masks, or their mittens, we know they're too hot, so we just remove 1 or 2 of those layers on the top. And then kids are carrying their skis like a stack of wood, and we're all set, ready to go. So wanted to thank my model Alice and my cameraman Pete. And that's it for today. Thank you.